All right, let's jump right in. We're going to take your digital world, everything from your home Wi-Fi to a massive office network, and turn it into a fortress, an impenetrable fortress. And the best part? We're going to build it together, layer by layer, so you understand exactly how to keep the bad guys out for good.
Okay, to get started, I've got a question for you, and it might sound a little weird at first. What could your home Wi-Fi and a medieval castle possibly have in common?
Well, it turns out they have a lot in common. They both rely on layers of defense to stay safe, right? A fortress isn't just one big wall. It's got outer walls, inner walls, moats, gates, guards. Your network needs the exact same thing, just the digital version. So let's start building. Okay, layer 1. This is the absolute foundation. We have to secure the physical gates. And by that, I mean the hardware itself. Before we get into any fancy digital stuff, we have to deal with the basics. Why? Because if an attacker can literally walk up and touch your router or your switch, they have a huge, huge advantage. So here are 4 things you absolutely have to do. First, lock your hardware up. Put it in a secure room or a locked rack. It sounds simple, but if they can't physically touch it, their job gets way harder. Second, strong passwords. And not just any password. Use commands like enable secret that encrypt it. That makes it way, way tougher to crack. Third, lock down every single way someone could access the device, whether they're plugging a cable in directly or trying to get in remotely. And last, but definitely not least, shut down any port you're not using. Seriously, every open port is like an unlocked window just waiting for someone to climb through. And you might be thinking, is all this physical stuff really that important? Yes, it is. Your network switches are the backbone of everything. But a simple mistake, a weak password, an open port, creates a massive vulnerability. It's literally like leaving the main gate of your fortress wide open with a welcome sign on it. Okay, so our gates are physically locked. Awesome. Now it's time to build the internal walls. This part is all about making sure that if an attacker does manage to get inside, they can't just run around and do whatever they want. We need to contain them. And look, this isn't just my opinion. This is a core strategy recommended by the real experts, like the US government's own Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, or CISA. The strategy they push is called network segmentation. So what is network segmentation? The core idea is brilliant. Instead of having one giant open network where every device can talk to every other device, you chop it up into smaller, isolated zones. Think of it like building walls inside the castle to protect the really important stuff, like the treasury or the royal family's chambers. Let's picture this. In a network that isn't segmented, once an attacker gets past that initial defense, it's pretty much game over. They can move around freely, what we call lateral movement, and hunt for your most valuable data. It's a disaster waiting to happen. But with segmentation, that same attacker is now trapped. They've gotten through the outer wall, sure, but now they're stuck in this tiny little courtyard. And all around them are more walls. In our world, those are firewalls. To go any further, they have to start a whole new attack just to get into the next segment. And the benefits here are just huge. You're isolating your most important assets. You make it so much easier to spot and contain a threat if one pops up. You're basically turning your network from an open field into a complex maze for any would-be attacker.
All right, so our gates are locked and our internal walls are up. What's next? Well, we need sentries. We need guards who can patrol those walls, watch the traffic coming in and out, and yell for help the second they see something suspicious.
In cybersecurity, our sentries are called intrusion detection systems. You'll hear people call them an IDS, and their entire job 24/7 is to watch for malicious activity and raise the alarm. Now, you've basically got 2 kinds of these sentries. First is a network IDS, or NIDS. The best way to think about this one is like a security camera watching the main road into town. It sees all the traffic moving back and forth across the whole network. Then you have a host IDS, or HIDS. This is totally different. It's like having a dedicated security guard stationed inside every single building, or, in this case, on every computer, watching what's happening up close and personal. So, how do these things actually spot trouble? Well, they use 2 main tricks. The first is called signature-based detection. This is like giving your guards a book of wanted posters. It looks for the digital fingerprints of known attacks. It's great at stopping threats we've seen before, but it's totally blind to brand new attacks. The other method is anomaly-based detection, and this is pretty clever. It actually learns what normal looks and feels like on your network, and then it flags anything that deviates from that baseline. This is awesome, because it can catch new, unknown attacks. The only downside is that sometimes a legitimate but unusual activity can trigger a false alarm.
All right, on to our final layer. A truly secure fortress isn't just about keeping everyone out. It's also about letting the right people in, but doing it safely and verifying who they are every single time they move around.
You've probably heard of proxies and VPNs. Now, a proxy server just kind of hides your location, almost like a simple disguise. But a VPN, a virtual private network, that's the real deal. It creates a secure, fully encrypted tunnel for your data. That means even if someone is snooping on your connection, all they see is scrambled, unreadable garbage. For real security, especially when you're on public Wi-Fi, that encryption is absolutely essential.
Now, modern security thinking takes this idea of constant verification and pushes it to its logical extreme, with a philosophy called zero trust architecture. This completely changes the game. It throws out that old-fashioned idea of a trusted inside of the network and an untrusted outside.
The motto is simple, but it is so powerful. Never trust, always verify. This approach assumes that a threat could already be inside your network. It might even be coming from one of your own devices. So nobody gets a free pass. No user, no device is trusted by default, ever.
In a zero-trust world, our firewalls become these super smart dynamic guards. They create microsegments, which are like even smaller, more secure rooms inside our fortress. They're demanding to see an ID badge at every single doorway, not just the front gate. And they are always watching, constantly monitoring, ready to adapt and change the rules on the fly if they spot anything that looks even a little bit off.
So let's bring this all together. It is so important to get this one key idea. Defending your fortress, your network, it's not a one-time thing you can just set up and forget about. Security is a process. It never, ever ends.
You can't just buy one magic security box and call it a day. Real, effective security is a continuous process. It's about all these layers working together, from the physical locks on your server room, to the digital walls of segmentation, to the watchful sentries of an IDS, and finally to the mindset of zero trust, where you verify everything. That's how you build a truly resilient defense.
This whole layered defense in-depth strategy is the best way we know how to do it today. But here's the thing to keep in mind. The attackers, they never stop. They are always building new and better siege weapons. Which leaves us all with one final question to chew on. What will the next wall of our digital fortress even need to look like?